What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Coming at you guys with Friday's featured cards. This is basically we're talking about awesome Magic cards that I've been liking for the past, like, couple of days, weeks, whatever. I have cards from all of my EDH decks. I have a lot of things to talk to you guys about because when I don't do this every week, I, like, fall behind and then I'm like, whoa, all these awesome cards I want to talk about. So let's get started. So, I only have one card for my Tasigur EDH deck, and that is Vedalken Orrery. And I remember I was, like, trading for cards, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I need this card in my life. I was like, it's a card that I, like, everyone plays, and realistically this should be a Land of Anticipation, but that's actually $1 million. I think it's actually, like, 10. That's, like, $1 million. But anyways, for an EDH card, it's $1 million. And I probably want a foil, and I probably want a Japanese foil, and that's probably like $1.5 million. And, you know, it's just a lot. But, yeah. Okay, this card is still really sweet, though. Yeah. Card's good. I like it a lot. It's like, you know, sometimes, like, you're really sad because Profit got banned. I'm really sad about that. Are you sad? I'm still sad. So many of you were like, I'm so happy. I am emotionally upset about the fact that Profit was banned. Never gonna get over it, ever, in my life. But yeah, Vedalken Orrery is still really good. So you gotta, like, build your own Profit. It's like a build your own Profit little tool guide kit thing. Yeah, card's really good. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to my Yisan EDH deck. So there's a couple of cool cards that I was like, yo, these cards are really sweet. Okay, this is one of the best green cards in EDH. And you're probably gonna be like, let me guess, Tracy, it's Rexage or Eternal Witness, because you know I love those cards, because green's like, best color in EDH. No. I love those, but it's not what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about Scavenging Ooze. Oh my goodness. You have not lived until you've played against someone's deck where they're doing a bunch of graveyard shenanigans, and guess what? You have a ton of mana because someone blew up your board and you've got nothing to do with your mana, and you just wreck their graveyard. Like, Scavenging Ooze is nuts because, like, it's good if you want to get rid of creatures and you need life, but it's just so good that you get to exile something for 1 green mana. You're like, oh, let me just, kill your thing and then exile your infinite combo out of the graveyard. This card is nuts. It's so, so, so good. And I also have, like, the pretty promo foil. That's always good, so. Yeah. Woo! Come back. Okay, what are we talking about? Okay, this is a card that, is such an old school card that some of you probably have never heard of this card before, but let me tell you something. This card is absolutely nuts in Yisan, and that is Traproot Kami. This is probably a card that some of you are like, yo, that card exists? Yeah, that card exists. This card is absolutely insane. The fact that, you know, when you play it, it's like, you know, green has a really difficult time dealing with flying. It has a super difficult time. And so if you're all like, oh, I'm on that green mana ramp game, what do I do to deal with flying? Get this card because it's like a gigantic wall and then your opponent just can't answer, and then you're like, oh, I see you have your stupid wall thing that's got flying or reach or whatever. I'm sorry, it has reach. Yeah. Yeah, it's defender. It can't attack anyway. But yeah, card is super nuts. I remember I was searching through the depths of the world to try and find, like, green. I like this deck, like, let me tell you, like, normally I'll spend, like, a lot of times, like, planning out decks and whatever, but this deck, like, I did so much research on because the Yisan is such a specific commander that, like, the way that I did my build is I wanted to make sure I had a good amount of stuff that was at 1 mana and 2 mana. Like, I couldn't just put in, like, whatever. Like, people don't understand that when they're like, oh, throw this card in Yisan. I'm like, I have to strategically figure out which card I'm going to take out because I can't just take out anything. I have to balance out in the deck, like, how much stuff I have at 1 mana and how much stuff I have at 6 mana. So it's a, you know, it's a very interesting deck. But yeah, I searched through the depths and I was like, this card's gotta go in here. It's just super sweet and I like it a lot. Okay, this is a card that I knew about for a while and I just never put in this deck, and then I was like, I need this card in my deck, and that is Wall of Blossoms. This card's basically Elvish Visionary, but it's a 0/4. And it's got Defender. EDTVC draw a card. It's like a really nice blocker. I like them both. I actually have both in the deck, and I like them both for different reasons. I mean, 1/1 synergizes super well with Skull Clamp if you're on that strategy, but if you just really need, like, big dudes, like big blockers, Wall of Blossoms is super good. I personally run them both because I like them both, but yeah. Okay. Phone stop. I feel like every time I film, like, the phone goes off, and I hate, like, I can't stand, like, talking on the phone at all, and, like, when the phone rings, I just, like, go away. Go call back later when I'm not here. Okay. Now, you're gonna probably look at this card and be like, huh, Tracy, why don't you run Rex Sage? Bro, because I do. I also run Caustic Caterpillar. Let me tell you how many times this card has saved me against people. Because, you know, your opponent, like, you get Yisan out on, like, turn 3 or turn 2 or whatever, and then your opponent plays something super threatening, and you're like, oh man, I gotta wait until I get Yisan to 3 before I can grab my Rex Sage, or 5 till I can get Concrave Naturalist, because I run both of them. But then you're all like, run this card, because it's super good, it destroys target artifact or enchantment, and it's a total of 3 mana, but honestly, like, this card has helped me so much. I mean, technically it's like 5, because Yisan is 3, and then it's 2, but whatever. Card is still really nuts. Even if you top deck it, it's super good. It's super good in EDH, people are gonna have artifacts and enchantments, and you just want to blow them up, so yeah, card's super good. I like it a lot. Okay, now we're going to talk about a couple of cards from my Keranos EDH deck. I need to tweak this deck. I've kind of at like the point where I'm super happy with Tasigur, and I really like Omnath a lot, and Angels are really awesome. And Yisan's still good, but I don't play it all the time. The reason why I don't play it all the time is because it can get repetitive, not because I don't like it. The deck is like sweet. But Keranos is at that point where I gotta kind of like figure out like my balance. I gotta figure out more win conditions. I think I'm gonna do an infinite combo in the deck. I know, right? I think I'm gonna need some Splinter Twins and some Kiki Jikis. Let me know what you guys think. Because the deck counters like everything. It has so many counters and like that's awesome, but I need like other stuff to do in the deck because I'm doing this like burn strategy, and I think if I just take those off, replace them with counter spells and like other things and infinite combos, I think I'll be okay. I don't know, man. Well, let me know what you think. Okay, so let's talk about Keranos. Okay, so the first card that I have that is just like absolutely nuts belongs in probably every red deck in EDH, and that is Dualcaster Mage. Card I think was just reprinted, if I'm not mistaken, in Eternal Masters. I feel like it was. Okay, this card's a house. You want to know why this card's a house? So, my friend Justin, love this kid so much, was all like, 9 mana, I'm gonna cast Rise from the Dark Realms. And I was like, okay, cute. And then we went around the table and we're like, responses no, and I was like, I have a response. I was like, Dualcaster Mage, I get all the things, you get nothing. It was so freaking sweet. I stole everyone's things from the graveyard. I didn't have like any creatures in my graveyard. I was like, casually get this Avenger of Zendikar, make a bunch of plant tokens. It was nuts. It was so good, and then I killed everyone on the next turn. It was just sweet. Okay, this card is just absolutely insane. Even if someone's like, dig through time, Dualcaster Mage, I get my own dig through time. Yeah. Oh wait, you can just like, you can negate like their thing. Oh my god, this card's so good. I love it. Okay. Speaking of creatures who were super good, so I was trading for some cards, right? And I was all like, and I'm at that point where I don't really need anything, unless they're like foil cards, / like foreign cards, / foreign or foil cards. If you have those, you have my heart. Venser, and I'm not talking about the Planeswalker Venser, I'm talking about the creature Venser. So I casually just traded for the From the Vault one, so it's like super pretty and lovely. And I was like, what card do I, what deck do I put this in? Because if you know, I'm really happy with Tasigur, and it would work really well on Tasigur, like really well. But I was like, you know what, I'll throw it in Keranos. Card is like just a house. Like, someone plays something super threatening and you're all dead on board, and then you're all like, yo man, I gotta like top deck that counter spell. Then you're all like, Venser, bounce back to your hand, and then they waste all their mana doing like, whatever. And then you just got a 2/2. Card's really good. Or, like, you're like, bounce your permanent that I can't deal with. Because then again, if you bounce their permanent, it synergizes so well with counter spells, because then your opponent goes to play it and you're like, just spell it, or like, whatever. Yeah, card's super good. Okay, now we're gonna be talking about Angels. So, yeah, this deck's like my baby. Like, it's just so, it's like one of my first EDH decks, and it just means a lot to me. So the first card that I have is Mind's Eye, and I remember when I first played with this card, it was sweet. Like, I had Mind's Eye out, and then like people were like, draw a card, and I was like, cool, pay 1, I'm gonna draw a card too, and then I drew a card, and it was awesome. And then like white has a really, really difficult time like drawing cards, if you know, but it's like one of my favorite Magic colors. I say that about actually just all colors except for red. I'm like meh about red. I like red, but I'm like, it's okay. But yeah, Mind's Eye is just like, It's so, so good. I actually don't have the super pretty foil for this. That makes me really sad because the card is really good. But yeah, like, and it's whenever an opponent draws a card. It's not even the first card for a turn. So if your opponent draws multiple cards in a turn, you're like, pay 1 mana. Like, it's super good in, like, decks that really need card draw. And you know what, 5 mana? Hey, I don't even care. Because at the very least, like, if, say, your opponent kills it on your turn, like they Rec Sage it or something, at least you get to draw, like, at least 1 card off of it, hopefully. So, yeah, card's super good. Speaking of card draw, we're gonna talk about Staff of Nin. I'm sorry, Staff of Win. This card is just nuts. Like, you would honestly be surprised, like, when you say 1 damage, or like, that doesn't really do anything. That kills so many things. I keep talking about Rec Sage, but like, it kills Rec Sage, it kills Wood Elves, it kills everything, and then it synergizes well with, like, so many things if you want to, like, exile their graveyard. I don't really do that in this deck, but, oh, actually, I lied. Do I have that 1 card in here? I think it's Angel of Finality that exiles target player's graveyard. I have to just double check and see if I have that card, because that card's nuts. But it's an ETB that exiles cards from graveyard. You're like, I don't like your graveyard exile. It's super good. I should get some graveyard hate in this deck because it needs it. But yeah, so it, like, not only does it get to ping something, but you just get to casually, like, draw an extra card. Do you like that? I don't like that. I think that sounds sweet, so yeah, card's really good. Okay, I can't even tell you how much I love this card. Knight of the White Orchid. So, in my deck, I have, like, I think, like, a total of 4 creatures who aren't angels, because it's angels, tribal. I think I have, like, the Soul's Attendant, Soul's Warden, Knight of the White Orchid, and Suture Priest, and I'm pretty sure that those are the 4. But this card just is so good. You know why this card's amazing? It doesn't count for your land for the turn. So, like, you could be on turn, say, like, your opponent, okay, you go, hold on, how could I figure this out? Like, okay, it's on, like, turn 3 and you have, like, 4 lands or something. It's, like, really, really good. Card is just really awesome. And then, you're left with a 2/2 with First Strike. If you like ETB effects, this card's great. And again, white doesn't really have a lot of, okay, there's a lot of white stuff that I don't like. There's, like, that 1 enchantment that's, like, you exile, like, a bunch of planes, and then at your upkeep you can bring that one back. But then I'm like, what if someone kills your enchantment? Like, then you just grab all these lands, and then you don't draw lands for the rest of the game. Like, that's my fear. That's why I wouldn't run that card. I don't like that card. I don't like it. Okay, then, we're just talking all about Mana Ramp today. I don't know why. Sword of the Animist. I love this card so much. Not only does it give your dudes, like, +1/+1 buff, and you're like, okay, sweet, I like that. On top of that, every time they attack, they don't have to do combat damage. Like, I get so frustrated when they're all like, it has to deal combat damage to a player, and I'm like, but they have 600 blockers, and I can't deal with that. So, yeah. Oh, dude, I just thought that I can run Deceiver Exart, and then, Pestermite and Splinter Twin and Kiki-Jiki in my deck. That's cool. There's another one too. There's Zealous Conscripts and Kiki-Jiki. I need to put those both in Keranos. I gotta tweak the deck. Anyways, yeah, Sword of the Animist is, like, super good. You give your dudes buffs and then you get lands whenever they attack. And when you have Indestructible, you don't even care. Yeah. That's kind of like I think the slogan for the deck is, like, you have Indestructible and you just don't really care. That's pretty much how it works. Okay, I probably wouldn't have gotten this card if it wasn't for my lovely boyfriend who was like, here, I have an extra one. He's so good to me. Urza's Incubator. This card is super, super good. Like, pretty much essential, I think, in just every single tribal deck in EDH. Because you have things and they get to cost 2 less and it costs 3 mana to play. Like, I can't even tell you, like, I was playing with this card, like, a couple of times, and I was like, yo, this card's a house. Super good, I love it. Then I have a super lame card to talk about, but that is, New Benalia. It's a land, and when it ETBs, you scry. It's nothing fancy at all, but you know what? Like, it's super, super good. I'm a huge fan of it. Oh my gosh, I hope this isn't Paul. Paul's coming over, and I didn't want him to be like, I get distracted talking a lot and then I, like, lose track. And he's like, I'm here. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't do anything fancy, but it's a good card and I like it. Scrylands are awesome, so yeah. Okay, now we're gonna talk about my Omnath EDH deck. And let me tell you guys something. Deck's gotten, like, this is a deck, Omnath is, in my opinion, like, if you want to build an EDH deck and you don't have a lot of money, and you're like, but I want something super powerful, build Omnath, because the deck is just nuts. Like, I think what's so good about it is that the deck just does one thing. It's like, I'm gonna play a bunch of mana dorks and mana cards, and I'm gonna get lands, and then I'm gonna make 5/5s. Like, that is what the deck does. It's not anything fancy, it just, that's what it does, and it does it so well, because it only does one thing. So, I'm really, really happy with this deck. Like, my deck, honestly, like, I was looking at the price the other day, and I think I need to update it because I have a couple of cards, and I foiled a couple of things and whatnot, but, like, the deck is only, like, $90. Like, it's really not that expensive, but it's so good. So the first card I really love is Flamekin Harbinger. You would not believe the amount of good cards that are elementals in this deck. Avenger of Zendikar is an elemental, so you've, like, got this game pretty much locked. You've got, like, Perforos out or something, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, say that whole plan doesn't work of making 5/5, someone killed Omnath, like, whatever. You're like, oh, okay, Flamekin Harbinger, someone killed Omnath, like, 12 times or something. That would be a lot. You have to pay a lot for that. The deck could pull it off. Like, the funniest thing is when people kill Omnath, and then I'm like, alright, cool, I'm just gonna, like, recast them. Whatever, bro. I don't even care. I don't even care, bro. But yeah, Flamekin Harbinger, and it also gets another elemental, which I guess I'll just talk about right now. That is Regal Force. So this card recently got reprinted in Eternal Masters, and I know a lot of people were like, meh, but then I was all like, yo, this card's nuts. Guys, even if you have, like, 4 tokens, or you have, like, Omnath and 3 tokens, or like, whatever, even if you just have, like, those cards, you get to draw 4 cards, and they don't have with a 5/5. Like, he's so good. Like, I kind of struggle in this deck with card draw a little bit, so, like, the synergy with these cards, like, if I can Flamekin Harbinger and then get Regal Force on top of my library or something, is just super good. Card is nuts. Okay, so those are cards that I like. Okay, so do you guys remember once upon a time in Modern when there was that magical deck called Bloom Titan? We remember that deck? Alright, some of you were like cringing, some of you were like, I gotta hide in my closet, that deck scared me. Meanwhile, I was like, this deck's sweet. Summer Bloom. Okay, guys, I am such a savage. You don't need to tell me. I know, I'm a savage. Your girl here was playing EDH, and I'm playing Omnath, and I'm like, I pitched like 2 cards, and I had 7 lands in my hand, and I was like, let's do this, I got this. So I, like, top decked like a savage, and I top decked Summer Bloom, and I cast Omnath on turn 4. It was nuts. I think the only thing that would have been better is if I had Soul Ring in my hand, and then, yeah, that would have been sweet. And then, like, I pitched Simian Spirit Guide, and then, yeah, that would have been sweet. But, you know, Magical Christmas Land, we can't always get what we want, in the words of the Rolling Stones. Yeah, Summer Bloom is just, like, really good. Like, people were like, oh yeah, no one runs that card because no one runs that deck anymore, but hey, got news for you, in Omnath, card's sweet. The only thing that could be better about this card is if it was foil and if it was, had white borders. Do they make a white border foil this card? I know there's like 2 printings of this card that's in foil. But yeah, this card's super, super awesome. I love this card. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna talk about Nissa Worldwaker. I remember when she came out, I feel like people were super disappointed by her, whatever. That happens, like, everywhere, all the time, with everything. Let me tell you something. She's super, super good. I don't often use her for her first +1, but her second +1, she's nuts. She's just absolutely nuts. Because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cast Nissa, and then I just casually untap 4 lands. Like, this card helps me so much in this deck, because sometimes I just have a lot of cards in my hand, and I want to do so many things, and I'm like, but I can't. So I'm like, cool, untap lands. And if I don't need mana for, like, some reason, I make something a 4/4. I've never gotten her ult off, but she seems super sweet. Yeah, she's just really good. I like her a lot. Okay, last card we're going to talk about is a land, and normally lands are like, meh, sometimes they're kind of boring. This card is not boring. Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. Okay, guys, so I put this card in my deck called Sylvan Scrying, right? Card's really good. And I was like, I don't really have a lot of fancy lands in this deck because so many of my cards require me to get basics, and you'd actually be surprised there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've cast Boundless Realm for like 12, and I don't really have a lot of basics. So the deck needs a lot of basics. It doesn't run a lot of fancy lands. It runs like a Garul Turf, a Blighted Woodland, and a Fertile Thicket, and Valakut. I'm pretty sure that's it. So Valakut was like my thing of like, well, maybe I should get more mountains in the deck. Maybe I should start fetching for more mountains and stuff so that I can synergize with Valakut. Oh my gosh, I can't even express to you how sweet this card is. Like, I know why people play Scapeshift. I understand why people play Scapeshift. I personally wouldn't play that deck, but Valakut's just nuts. Like, it's the most satisfying thing ever when you're like, Valakut, Boundless Realms. I did that, it was nuts. I Sylvan Scrying, and then I cast I played Valakut and then Boundless Realms for whatever, and I got all these mountains, and then I was like, excuse me, take that. It was so sweet. Card is nuts. And your opponent's just like, I can't answer that. Actually, can you answer that? I feel like you can on the damage trigger. I think because each one goes individually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure each one goes individually. So you could like Wasteland it or Strip Mine it or like Ghost Quarter it or whatever. But yeah, card's still a house. Alright, cool guys. That was it. That was it for Friday's Future Cards. Got a lot of energy right now. Don't really know what's going on, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys in my next video. See